Donald Trump's assassination just last Saturday on 13th July was the biggest political shock this year. 甲辰戌月有血光，阴煞白虎列全王。七次火花穿地空，唯独一朵点又动。王神西洋来问讯，破军不破破将军。Today I'm going to use astrology to explain why the attempt on Trump's life was bound to happen. Donald John Trump was born on the 14th of June in 1946 at 10:54 a.m. Using Emperor Star Astrology or紫微斗数, we can plot out his birth chart as follows. Now don't worry if this looks super complicated, I'll simplify and explain it to you as we go along. In a birth chart, the 12 squares you see over here are called palaces, and each palace is governed by one of the 12 zodiac signs. Donald Trump is born in the year 1946, and in the lunar calendar, this is the year of the dog. And the dog happens to govern this particular sector over here, making this one of the sectors we need to pay special attention to in today's assassination analysis. The next thing to understand are the stars that represent violence and aggression in astrology, and they are as follows. The destruction star Puo Jin, which you may have already noticed in the palace of the dog in the previous slide. Tisa, the seven killing star, the butcher's knife, the fire star, the injury star, the force star, the danger star, the death star, as well as the red star, Hong Luan, which may sometimes represent bloodshed. And now we have to see where these stars are located in Donald Trump's birth chart. As you can see, a large chunk of the violent stars, no less than 6, are actually located in this particular palace here. And the rest of the harmful stars, Wang Shen and Hong Luan, are located in a palace right next to it. An interesting star to note is Yin Sha, which represents something hidden and which will play a very important role in our assassination analysis later. Next, we need to consider the influence of Donald Trump's current tenure cycle. Trump is currently 78 years old in 2024, and that sits him within his own personal tenure cycle between the ages of 75 to 84 right over here, generating its own stars, Qing Yang over here, as well as Lu Cun over here in these palaces. And if you notice, these two palaces already has their own violent stars here. Hence, the presence of these stars, Qing Yang, which is the butcher's knife, and Lu Cun, which represents an angular object, amplify the likelihood of aggression happening to Donald Trump within his 10-year cycle. As though the potential for physical harm for Trump is not bad enough in these 10 years, take a look at what happens in 2024. This year is the dragon year, known in the lunar calendar as Jia Chen Nian, and the Chen refers to the zodiac dragon which governs this palace over here. And as you can see, Donald Trump's dog zodiac in this palace sits directly opposite this year's dragon. And in Chinese astrology, this is what we call Cong Tai Sui, which is directly confronting the Grand Duke Jupiter, and boom, we can expect things to be a little bit rocky for Trump this year. In addition, the destruction star Puo Jin in 2024 is influenced by the annual Huaquan transformation, which can represent a sudden blow. Meaning to say, there is a likelihood of a brute force being inflicted on whoever sits on this palace when the stars aligned this year. But the story gets worse as we narrow the year right down to the month of the assassination itself. Trump's assassination attempt was on the 13th of July, and using astrology, we can pinpoint exactly where this is indicated on Trump's birth chart. And in 2024, the month of July happens to be right over here. In July, Trump's Lu Nian Ming Gong South Palace is in this position, representing who he is as a person for the month. And his palace of activities related to his work and finance, Cai Po Gong, is over here, with his health palace right next to it. The monthly Hong Luan Xing, which in this case represents bloodshed in matters pertaining to health and the physical body, the red star flies into his July health palace this month, joining the existing red star there to amplify the possibility of bloodletting in this month. In the month of July, the violent star Qing Yang, the butcher's knife, appears yet again, and this time round it flies into Trump's activity palace, joining the two other butcher knives already existing in that palace, making this sector potentially very violent in July 2024. It's like a ticking time bomb just waiting to be triggered. So what may trigger this? Well, if it is not already obvious to you right now, Donald Trump's July South Palace is in 序月, governed by the same dog zodiac, which again confronts the Grand Duke Jupiter in the opposite palace, making Donald Trump not once but double the peril to be hit by something in the month of July 2024. And now with all these elements in position, we can see how Donald Trump's assassination attempt can be forecasted. And this is how we read what the stars are trying to tell us. In 2024, the person born in the year of the dog suffers a clash with the Grand Duke Jupiter in the dragon year. Injury is likely due to this person's activities related to his work and finances. And from Trump's health situation in July, there's a very high chance of bloodshed due to the coming together of the two red stars, small angular objects such as bullets, and the presence of the Death Star Wangsen, meaning a near-death encounter. But the next palace is where all the action happens. Because Trump is a politician, so the venues in which he conducts his political affairs and rallies are considered his activity palace. And the activity palace forecasts that in the month of July, there will be concealed danger in the guise of a tiger hiding in plain sight. And the presence of not one but 3 butcher knives means violence will likely strike 3 times. And interestingly, there are in fact 3 other casualties in the assassination besides Trump himself. The presence of Tisa denotes the number 7, and we can infer that combined with Tiansang, the injury star, and Yubi, 7 shots were likely fired, causing injury in the right ear. Some of you may ask, how do I know specifically that the right ear will be shot? Well, technically in Emperor Star Astrology, if we divide the body into 12 parts, the palace over here with all of Trump's violent stars correspond to the top part of the head on the right side, and the UB star over here sometimes hint at something on the right. And what other organ on the top part of the head could be here? And thank you so much again for tuning in to one of my explainer videos where I use metaphysics to explain everything. And before I sign off today, in case you feel you may be assassinated, give me a call and I may be able to help you prevent it.